Hello there, Maria here. I'm going to show you some mark making techniques on various papers. It's always fun to make your own because then you know it's going to be original. I mean, I like store-bought decorative papers, but this is more fun. Here you can see I used all the music sheet score, and this was I think tissue paper, and there's just white paint on an old paperback book. Here I scribbled and drew some lines that could come in handy. And here I'm using this packing paper and neocolors. And this is deli paper. And I used fabric patterns paper that I got at the thrift store that have such pretty lines. And so I used the back of a bottle cap to get those round shapes, and you can see that it's not even, which I like, and the paper is kind of crinkly, so it makes a really good texture. And this was a toilet paper roll that I dipped in red paint that has been around for quite a long time. Some more packing paper. Here's a book page again that I used a China marker on, and that is permanent. So I can just cut out some small pieces and use. And that was just packing paper, more marks with a black marker. Kind of cryptic looking, like a secret language. This was another packing paper that I used this to protect my table. And as you can see, I cleaned my brushes and tried to unclog pens and all over, but I just love the mixture of color. I cut out some circles that can be used for anything, basically, in your mixed media. Here's a piece of paper towel that I thought was interesting. So I used some neocolor colors on those on that sheet, and they are water soluble. So I'm gonna glue down some papers in from what I made in this journal page, just so you can get an idea. Paper towel is great because it is so flimsy. It kind of blends in when it gets really wet. It blends in with the background. And you can barely tell that there was paper glued on there. It becomes the page. I'm using Mod Podge, and I'm going on a pretty heavy layer, and then some Mod Podge on top. And you will see that the neocolor starts blending with this brush. So if you don't want them to blend, you have to keep it dry. I just like the original pattern on the paper towel, and then all this like blends in all together. Here I'm using water to blend the colors. And you can see how bright they get, but they're blended in well. When this is dry, it gets very strong. It's kind of stiff. It will hold up for more layers if you want to put more layers on top. You just have to remember where you want absolutely waterproof markers so that it doesn't smear, and other places it doesn't matter so much. So if you're aware of what you're using, you're not gonna make it all blend and spread out. So I'm just gonna take some strips of what I made here and glue them just like without plans in my art journal. And when I come back and it's dry, I can continue either paint on top of it, or I can add more paper or try and blend papers together with paint that kind of make them either blend or stand out against each other. So it's always a choice, right? But as you can see, that kind of boring, just little marks like that. You can add, when you add them all together, they look rich. I like kind of the rustic folk art look. Not everybody does, so it depends on what you want it to look like. But even if you do very concise art, you can still make your own marks for unusual paper combinations. And I don't use scissors much, but you can of course use scissors if you want a straight line. And I like the way the patterns, they're so soft, it blends in with the background too. I really like the way it crinkles and gives it a lot of different texture. And then I decided to take a piece of that um, protective paper that I had made by cleaning my brushes. Add some nice gold paint on there. So you can see that just adding those papers, a lot of interest that you can play on together and see how you can make it look interesting depending on what you put there on top. If anything, it's kind of cool the way it is, right? I added a little video with the markers that I've used and pens so you can get an idea. I used here Elmer's paint pens, painter's pens. They used to be incredibly good and long lasting, and they're permanent, but they don't work very well anymore. This is a Faber-Castell brush pen, and it's not 100% water fast, but these new crafted that they are permanent. And I just bought them, but so far they have worked really well. I don't know, hopefully they won't gum up like so many oil-based and other permanent markers get all gummy after a while. But so far it has like a different texture. And you can spread them when they're wet, but when they're dry, they're water fast. So I really, really like these pens. So we'll have to see. Maybe I'll let you know later how they work out. And then I used the Neo colors. I got the tin of 10 colors. They are wonderful. You can use them as crayons or you can water them down, almost like watercolor. And China markers. And that you can get several in a box. So thank you for watching. Make your own.